Take your place in the Coaching Lounge. Be inspired by discussions with motivational guests, compelling speakers, key people of influence, and models of success. Learn unique processes, strategies, and tips that will transform your life. Tune into previous episodes on www.thecoachinglounge.co.uk. Like our page on Facebook via The Coaching Lounge. Follow us on Twitter @Satellite Coach. Thank you for joining your host, Rebecca Gordon, in The Coaching Lounge. Tune in, relax, engage, and transform your life now. The Coaching Lounge. Is your personal style tired and outdated? Do you want to enhance your personal brand but don't know where to start? My guest today is image consultant Janna Beatty. Janna is one of the first image consultants in the world and has learned a lot of secrets about what makes a woman project her personal best. Janna has helped her clients individualize their personal style and has worked with many clients over the past 3 decades. The author of Quintessential Style, Cultivate and Communicate Your Signature Look, Janna Beatty joins your host, Rebecca Gordon, in the Coaching Lounge. Janna, welcome.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. It's great to be with you.
Excellent. And how are you today? How is it in your part of the world?
Well, spring in Texas is beautiful. It's our greenest time of year, and after the bare months of winter, who couldn't be alive and excited?
Exactly. And you know, that is a great place to start, Janna, because actually at this time of the year, we're putting away our winter clothing and we're wanting to come out and step out into the world really feeling vibrant and light and energetic. But it takes a little bit to get that shift from winter to summer, to spring, summer, where clothing is concerned. Do you think?
Oh, absolutely. One of the intermediate steps I have people do, depending on people's seasons rarely abruptly change in a single day. So one of the exercises I have my clients do for transition season, if you just walk into your closet and those things that feel the heaviest and the darkest, the deepest, the heavier fabrics from winter months, if you move those to the far end of your closet, it's interesting how suddenly your closet does seem more colorful and spring-like.
That's a great tip, that is, actually. I will get to work on that straight away, yes. Okay. And already, you've just given a flavour of what you're about. You're an image consultant in the industry for 3 decades. Tell me more about image consultancy. What's that about? What is it exactly?
To me, the best definition of an image consultant is someone who can help you get more of anything you want just by working with your visual appearance.
Okay. And I'm focusing here on women. I mean, is it women that you work with predominantly, Janna?
Well, primarily because I do other services. I know you work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and when you're an image consultant, it helps to have a revolving door. So when I focused on men, I do a lot of corporate training and focus on men there. But as far as singular clients that are men, normally they've been sent to me by their employer or attorneys because they understand the importance of nonverbal communication. But as far as a business owner and seeking new clients that are males, it wasn't really profitable for me compared to my female clients.
And because actually I do want to focus on women, because
Great.
Yes, a woman.
I'm with you.
Great. Yeah.
I will tell you something exciting though.
Yes.
I had a huge respect for men and had worked with a lot of men and was raised in an entrepreneurial family. So when I started doing this business and working predominantly with women, I'll tell you, I know this may sound odd, but women are the most magnificent, nurturing, kind, generous, remarkable beings. And when you're trying to get something started and you have that kind of force behind you, that is a true gift. And for women who are starting their own businesses who might be listening today in the coaching lounge, some of the things that we view ourselves from different assets and liabilities, but frankly, there's no replacement for feeling your way to success. And that's one ace in the hole that regardless of everything else that's chalked up against women, they have to take to the bank every time.
That's a great thought to actually to put out there, Janna. There's no replacement for feeling your way to success. Quote from Janna Beatty. Great. And in terms of being a woman and wanting to create your personal style or brand, I mean, let's talk about women going into business now, okay? So you've got your business idea, you've done your research, you're ready to step out there. And one of the things that one might find fearful or, find a bit hesitant to do is to decide how to project their personal image. What are some tips that women can do to actually, to help themselves with that?
Rebecca, you're really doing a service to people who would be in that situation by raising the question, because this is generally what happens. People get this idea and they start doing what they do, and as things unfold, the picture becomes clearer. So simply by asking this question up front, it gives very excellent structure for communicating. For example, if blue is the color of trust the world over, and you were going to be giving confidential information, just the simple little thing of sending emails and having your type in the darkest shade of blue, even if it was barely distinguishable from black, is that subconscious thing. And whether you call it branding or image, consistency is the primary element when you're building a brand. So, now companies have mission statements. And I think it's very important for each person in this position to think, well, what's my personal mission statement?
That's a good point.
What's my business mission statement?
Yeah.
And, of course, in my business, we do a personal style statement. So what is the style? Your appearance is either an asset or a liability. So even if I had a client who owned a landscaping business, instead of having their laborers show up for work, if they had on T-shirts in the company color with the company logo, and I'm not talking about worn out, I'm doing lawn services T-shirts. I mean, that is part of that company's image. So every way that we show up with our presence, if that is consistent, it communicates. Our visual appearance communicates instantly before we utter a word. So when you're branding a company, you're putting that visual appearance of your company right out there for everybody to see.
Okay, yes. So can I just check with you then? In terms of your branding, do you work with your clients for branding in attire, or is it branding in business, or both?
I primarily work with the individual. So I'm doing more individual branding than business branding, but I found that a lot of my clients see a lot of carryover in this.
Right, yes.
But, for your personal brand. And a lot of times when people come to me for a service, because women don't tend to be self-centered, when you make them aware of some of their singular personal aspects that is unique to only them, suddenly they enter this vortex of awareness. It just happens.
Right, okay. I mean, I will share with you that just listening to, what you're telling us here, I'm reflecting back. And in my 30s, going into my 30s, 40s, I used to wear a lot of trouser suits, And now, now I'm approaching my 50s, and from my mid-40s into my 50s, I love dresses. I've just got this thing for dresses. You would never dare see me in a trouser suit right now. So is it that...
Right, and
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, please continue.
Well, see how brilliant you are? Boom, you have up your radar. You are so in tune and in touch. And the big thing in the media when Hillary Clinton announced recently is this whole big thing about how she was being dogged on for her trouser suits and how now she needs to do suits that are more fitted and
Right.
skirted.
Yes.
Well, this was fascinating because the research that came out has less to do with it than the climate of our times. And I had an email, I wrote a thing about how the skirted suit is now more powerful than the pantsuit in my complimentary e-newsletter that I do for clients and friends of UR, the name of my company.
Right.
And a client in Singapore sent me an email and she said, Janna, I love reading your newsletter, but I don't look good in skirts. I look better in pants.
Okay.
And I don't want to wear skirts. I want to wear pants. And I emailed her back and said, brava, perfect decision.
Yes.
She's a petite woman. Her legs are shorter than her upper torso. And it was the perfect decision for her.
Okay.
But isn't that interesting, even though she knew that she would ask?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, interesting. And
because it's impossible to be objective when we see ourselves.
Well, this is the thing. And let's just talk about differentiating here then. So one term we hear over and over when people talk about branding is to be able to, show your differences. So is it difficult or easy to differentiate if you're talking about your individual style?
Great question. Okay. So first of all, before we talk about that, I want to make a very clear point on application.
Mm-hmm.
So appropriateness of dress, for lack of a better term, is the key in everything. If you are in what is called an alpha-based management, it's structured with the top decision maker, then there may be vice presidents, and then the numbers increase. So it's a traditional pyramid.
Okay.
The numbers become broader at the bottom.
Okay, so that's alpha-based management. Yes.
Alpha-based business. And then if you are in a beta-based business, think of the round table.
Okay.
Think of real creative computer atmospheres where you're sitting, where you're there. They want to bring the people together, so they're constantly sharing information. They're not isolating them. They're pushing them together. Yeah. So that's one example of appropriateness. So government, finance, insurance, these are going to be the most alpha-based businesses in most cultures. So regardless of how you want to stand out, depending on which type of industry you're in, this is really going to make a difference, whether you stand out or you stick out. So every single thing we do sends this message. So the message has to be very carefully crafted. So that's the first thing, appropriateness of dress. So I call this the context that everything takes place in. So that's the first step. Now, as far as being different, for example, I had a young client who graduated from university, and she hired me to help her put her wardrobe together for interviews. Her name happened to be Sarah Spot. Well, that worked to my advantage.
Right, yes.
Menswear patterns back then were one of the most powerful things women could do in business. So for her first interview, I literally had a polka dot shirt with her suit.
Okay.
For the callback interview, we did a polka dot pocket square. No matter what she went in for, we represented the spot and we were basically, wouldn't you say that is branding?
Yes, absolutely, and very, very smart branding too. But then, is that something that she took to? Was that new for her to wear that? The spotted wear attire?
Yes, who would think of that?
Right.
But what was working to my advantage was She was a rather traditional young woman, and she really loved this. So if you try to do something that isn't, remember I talked about the clarification of your mission statement for your business, you as an individual, or your personal style statement that we talk about in Quintessential Style. Once you craft this, everything comes clearly into view. Now, for your listeners, this is a bigger and, in my opinion, more important point for women. Women do not perceive themselves the way the world does. We've done tests. Men, you can take average-looking men and have them tell you on a scale of 1 to 5 how attractive they are. They can have a panel of people who say how attractive they are, and men perceive themselves as more attractive than they are. I don't have to tell you what happens with women.
That's right.
They don't perceive themselves higher than they are. The scores are flipped.
Yeah.
So
it's all this negative chatter, isn't it? You know, it's the lack of self-belief in how you are and how you are perceived and how you present yourself to the world.
Absolutely, and bigger things than that. You know, we're finding a lot of research out about this now. But the point is that I can say to every single one of your listeners, this sounds silly, but birds don't see air, and fish don't see water. I gave a talk yesterday in a Texas city, and this woman came up, and I complimented her on a very extreme trait that she has. And she, before she could say thank you, she kind of leaned back like she was taken aback.
Okay.
Well, she looked in her mirror every day of her life, but she hadn't seen it.
Well, sometimes we do have a problem accepting compliments. You know, that's something that comes through sometimes in my coaching sessions.
Oh, now you're bringing up a whole other subject. But my point was, she was totally unaware of this extreme trait. Yeah. And another woman, her friend standing next to her, once I said it, said, "Oh my gosh, that's true." Right. And then her friend echoed what I had said by saying, "You know, now that you mention it, her eyelashes always look like that."
Okay. Yeah.
Now, that could be important in branding if her eyes are wide open. There are times if your eyes are too wide open and you don't want to look like you're vulnerable, that you may want to work on that. So every single one of our traits can be a positive aspect or a negative handicap. So we get to create how we use those things. It's our power. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, as you've said, with that example that you gave, it's to actually be conscious of it, really, isn't it? And to notice the things about yourself that are wonderful, that are great, you know, that are vibrant. And sometimes as women, we don't do ourselves favours in that department, really.
Yes, psychologists say it's impossible to look at ourselves objectively. And there's a design they have called Johari's window that goes into why this, how the proof of this. But, you know, bigger than that, you know, there is this in objectivity. But this is something that kind of hints back to something you said previously. So if I were working with someone and they said, well, I just don't know what it is that's outstanding. And I said to them, ask your friends. Oh, my gosh. How many women are going to do that one?
Well, this is the thing. You know, I've actually got a coaching tool that I use, and it's called mobile feedback. So I do this myself about 3 times a year. I actually send a message out to people, you know, who I trust, who I get on well with, who I know have my best interests at heart. So I say to them, you know, it's this time of the year, you know, I'm looking for some self-reflection, you know, can you just give me some feedback on some words that represent me for you? And, you know, the feedback...
3-star, brilliant.
Yeah, it just, you know, it's, for one, it's a confidence booster. But secondly, it just confirms to me, or shows me, I should say, how people perceive me. And there are some great and wonderful, you know, feedback terms that I get, which I would never have in a million years, you know, realize that people see me in this way. So I would encourage people to do that, because it's about building your brand, and we need some information to actually support.
Rebecca's guest. Heck with building your brand. You want to build a joy-filled, aware, exciting life. Do what she said. This is awesome.
So
Rebecca,
I've
and I
got
share that with my clients.
excellent, fantastic. And this is, I mean, I had another interview recently, and the guest, her name's Kathleen Gage from Power Up Profits. And she said, this is the beauty of the world we live in now with the internet. I mean, here we are, thousands of miles away, and have this brilliant connection where everyone who's listening in right now is gaining a lot of valuable information from yourself, Janna. So thank you so much. I'm actually going to take a break now. And when we come back on the other side, we're going to hear from Janna some thoughts and ideas about the first 60 seconds and the impression that you can make to support confidence in yourself and confidence from others, and also the type of clothing that works best when you are wanting to enhance your personal presence.
Think big for a moment. If you could create your best life, how would this look? What if, in just 30 minutes, you had a plan of action to get closer to your dream? Make the impossible possible and claim your free session today. Visit www.satellitelifecoaching.com now.
Usually, we struggle through life alone, with outdated beliefs and self-sabotaging actions that bring the same results. How different would it be if you had a personal success coach who helped you make the shift and create a plan for happiness? You will fearlessly align your values, achieve important goals, and reframe your perspective when you have coaching with me. Email Rebecca at info@satellitelifecoaching.com. Book your free discovery session and change your life.
Thank you for joining myself, Rebecca Gordon, and my fabulous, amazing, wonderful guest, Janna Beatty, in the Coaching Lounge. And Janna, I'm so excited that you're here providing a lot of great information for women to take away from, and thoughts as well, things to consider, to help create their individual style. And I'm just going to present a quote here by someone called Diana Vreeland. And the quote is this: "The only real elegance is in the mind. If you've got that, the rest really comes from it." And that's actually what you've been saying, isn't it, Janna?
Absolutely. If there were one singular area that's the most exciting area in our life, from my perspective today, it is brain plasticity. Okay. Being an NLP practitioner, I'm preaching to the choir if I mention that to you, but that really, the internet puts the world at everyone's fingertips as far as having access to information, and information and education is transformation. But to be able to know that we have the power to design the life that we love is the most exciting thing that's happened in my lifetime.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. And moving on then, so let me just talk to you then about some helpful specifics for our listeners here. And I alluded to being summed up in the first 60 seconds. That's really pressurizing, isn't it? We hear,
absolutely.
Yeah, we hear the statements that, the first impression counts. You never get a second chance at a first impression. So if you can just talk to us about that, because those terms don't really instill confidence. How can we maintain confidence knowing that the first 60 seconds are crucial?
I'll give you some great guidelines. First of all, if you do make a bad first impression, it takes 14 exposures to undo that impression.
14 is a lot, Janna.
A real number.
14 is a lot, isn't it?
Yes, but in a way, it's so much fewer than never.
Right, okay. So really, I need you to explain this fully then, because it could be, short 14s really, couldn't it? So let me hear what yourself as the expert has to share about that, please.
When someone looks at you, instantly, they're aware of your skin color, your gender, and your age. And this is called impression criteria. These three things are fixed. When they look at you, if you've ever listened to, here we have police scanners, and if someone robs a convenience store, they'll say, white, female, early 40s.
Yes.
That's our fixed impression criteria.
Mm-hmm.
This goes down into more flexible areas, and the first category there is what I call a three-legged stool. Your appearance is made up of your clothing, your hair, and your makeup. If it's a four-legged stool, the fourth element would be your glasses. Eyewear can certainly date a look and give a definite impression. But think about it. If 90% of your body is covered with clothing is a really huge part of this message. We may not be able to control our DNA and the features we've been given, but we can enhance them in every way. So then it's going to go down from the appearance, which is made up of clothing, hair, and makeup. Next would be facial expression, movement, voice, personal space, and touch. So that's a lot to be aware of. So if I were dressing someone for trial, instead of trying to teach them body language, because we don't know what can happen if we're in a stressful situation, but if you get your clothing perfect before you walk out that door, it's like a stage for you. It's like a safety net or an anchor to all that you want to do that day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you today were needing more personal power, because that's what you asked your question about, envision the world leaders meeting. Even if someone were from the Far East and these leaders were together for a photograph, someone may have on a turban or some type of clothing that's native to their environment, but they would also have on a suit. That's really important information for women, because a jacket, a suit, and then next a separate jacket is the most powerful garment you can wear.
Okay.
And don't you feel different? You talked about how you used to wear suits and now you wear dresses.
Well,
and think about how your life has changed from when you were breaking in and now.
Yeah.
So
yes. I mean, certainly.
You can feel the difference.
Yes, certainly, yes. I mean, just a quick example this morning, talking about spots. I've got a polka dot dress on, would you believe? And it's blue and white. And I thought to myself, shall I wear my blue cardigan with it, or shall I wear my jacket with it? And I tried both on, and immediately there was a whole different energy. But because it's Friday and the group of people I'm delivering to, I wanted them to feel at ease and comfortable. I put the blue cardigan on as opposed to the jacket, which gave, and really it did give a nice vibe to the day, rather than it being, sharp and intense because you've got a jacket on. It's very formal. So it is quite clothing and the energy about it. It does have a lot of power, doesn't it? And it does, as you say, support the enhancement of the personal power.
I'm becoming your biggest fan. What you did in front of the mirror was to speak to yourself the language of clothing, so that you took this language of clothes and you affected everyone who's going to see you today by making that choice. Bravo.
I didn't think of it exactly in the way you've put it across, but yes, ultimately that's what I did. But really, now that we're on this subject, this is really what we do need to be more conscious of, don't we? Especially if we're going into business.
I go into a company and some of these people aren't interested in hearing what I have to say, and I've been called there because somebody isn't dressing appropriately, and I'm just like, hey, you can work harder, or you can look like you're working harder. And, it's better to look like you're working harder and to work harder. And that's a great scenario. So one of the ways they can do it, the number one, if you need authority, wear a jacket.
Yes.
And then this little wardrobe language goes down. A cardigan or an unstructured jacket would be next. And you can literally take every third layer piece. That's what I call like any form of a jacket, from a hoodie to yoga jacket to pashminas, whatever. You can take every third layer piece in your closet and put those in order to make this process faster. And this is the exciting thing about nonverbal communication. This language, when I go in and do corporate training, we all know this language. We speak this language. So after we finish our time today, Rebecca, your listeners will know they're just geniuses at this clothing stuff.
Very true.
Another
very true.
thing,
Yes.
if you need more power, always wear a darker color instead of a lighter color. A blue polka dot dress could be navy, or it could be a sky blue for spring. So the darker the color, the more authority. I one time saw a picture of past American presidents, and every one of them was either in a black or a navy sport coat, and one had on tan. And it just was like someone let the power out of him.
Yeah.
He just looks so weak in this photograph.
Well,
you can see it.
Well, talking about that, wasn't it about a year ago there was a picture of Obama with a brown suit on? And people went crazy, didn't they, in the States, I recall? Do you remember that?
Yes. But the most fascinating thing about brown, Ronald Reagan singularly changed the total image of the color brown.
Okay.
Singularly.
How?
And people, because it was just like zero power, it was just way down on the scale. For men, it's like, it goes in this order: black, navy, gray. They're seeking power. So guess what? It's the same for us too.
Yes.
So when he shows up with this brown, you look like a Boy Scout or somebody who's an environmentalist. But this man was so handsome and so friendly. Even people who hated him, they did studies. And when you like someone, your pupils dilate. It's that automatic body reflex.
Yes.
And people's eyes dilated when they saw him in this brown suit. So the whole status of brown changed at that time. So yes, as cultures, colors change too and mean different things to us. So, if you need more adrenaline and want to look more powerful and aggressive, red. Women need help with this. Even in body language, if we sit like men, it increases our testosterone. Again, we've done studies.
Okay.
So we have to use all of this to our advantage.
Yeah, yes, okay. So, in fact, I'm feeling, Janna, there's another invite for you to come on to talk about some of these things regarding body language. Because actually, on touching on that point, I really must get back to the 14 exposures. Yeah, I need to know more about that, because you said, within that first 60 seconds, if you don't get that right, you've got 14 exposures to make that turnaround, that difference. Yeah. Talk to me about that. Is that like 14 contacts or, 14?
Well, this is the best illustration I can possibly give you.
Yeah.
And regardless of what continent you live on, we'll all get a laugh out of this.
Okay.
Let's say you married. And let's say you went to meet the in-laws. And let's say you didn't really have a good start. It did not go the way you wanted to. Bad first impression. Now, let's also say that you're from a rather diplomatic family, and to be fair, you're going to do 1 year Christmas at the in-laws and 1 year Christmas at your family. Whoa. Okay. We're talking about 28 years here. Pretty extreme numbers.
Yes.
Now, on a more positive level, let's say you had a business communication with someone and it was very negative. So instead of them seeing you in today's world, you can do many things to get in contact with them in a positive way. Whether it's sharing good news about yourself, if it's offering to help, is it being in the same organization and getting on the same committee? There's so many ways we have access to people.
I see. I've got it now. Yeah.
And then, the next time you show up, and this is a thing too, always make yourself an out. I had this lovely, lovely young woman as a client. She had moved to town, and she went to, her husband was new in this law firm, and the partners of the law firm, the top partner, has an annual pool party by his swimming pool. it's cocktails. It's just kind of and it's just become a thing. You know how we each get those traditional things we do within organizations and companies.
Yes.
So she shows up with her husband, bright young thing. He's fresh out of law school. It was a pool party, but she was wearing a swimming suit and everyone else was wearing cocktail attire.
Oh, dear.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, that wasn't her fault. That was an issue for the hostess to have handled. But this brilliant woman, always have an out for yourself. It's your emotional safety net. This woman smiled, pretended everything is right in order, went up to the host and said, "This has meant so much to us to be here tonight and to be included, and we're going to look forward to this every year. We have some brand new neighbors who are our only and closest friends here, and they just put in a new pool, and we're on our way to their party. I'm so sorry to cut out early, but we promised them we'd be there to support them."
Oh, wow. That is amazing, isn't it?
She was a genius. And, another great thing, women sometimes feel obliged. So if you ever find yourself in a situation, one of my things I try to give people as an out, sometimes, have you heard women say to you, this wouldn't happen to you, Rebecca, I have a feeling, but sometimes women will say, "I wish I'd thought of that. I wish I'd said. I wish I'd said."
Yes, I do hear that. Yes. Yeah.
So I just figure everyone's allowed to go to the restroom. Yeah. "Oh, excuse me, please. I'll be right back." Go in the restroom, shut the door, collect yourself.
Okay.
It's a safe, free zone. I mean, it seems like the most bizarre thing, but actually it's the most natural bunker we can find, and there's one everywhere.
Right. No, you are absolutely right. Yes. To give yourself that space, really, just
Sure.
to get level, really, yes. But, Janna, I did actually have a question from a guest who knew that you were going to be on the show today. But you've actually answered the questions. But I'm going to the questions, just to let you know, one was about adapting your brand for the seasons. And the other was to know, how do you choose the colours that are right for you? And you've actually indicated some of that already. But in terms of yourself and being an image consultant, and people buy your services in to support them with their personal style, I'm just wondering, is it something, and I've mentioned age, is it something that someone should do on a regular basis or just for special occasions? I mean, when you work with your clients, are you with them for a period of time, or do they just call you in for a one-off?
That's a great question. And first of all, Rebecca, if you would let that person who called in for the color information know that she can get some really good, specific color information on qstylethebook.com. To click on the color download. I don't want to leave her high and dry.
Yes.
And also, before we go on, when we're talking about engineering your appearance for desired outcomes, one of the final elements I'd like to mention before we leave that is solids are less approachable than prints. So if you were going to go read at your child's school or host a party, you may want to wear a print, whereas if you were showing up in a high-power meeting, solids would be more powerful.
Solids. Okay. Got that. Great. Okay. Super.
Now, when should you use an image consultant? Mm-hmm. I'm different than the other consultants. I have huge client loyalty because my clients literally, they all turn into my friends. I just can't help it. I just love them so much. I'm so grateful to them and what they've taught me. But honestly, my goal, I just got a Kirkus review for Quintessential Style, and it was fascinating to me how the reviewer said that the object of this book was to turn you into your own best image consultant. And to me, I've never been someone who wanted to shop for someone every season or to do their closet. This isn't, to me, about that. I'm not a stylist to the stars. Every human is so magnificent and so singular that I think that to have that self-knowledge, because see, Rebecca, we change. We're constantly changing. The world's speeding up. As a matter of fact, in days gone by when I started, there was a bell curve that was fashion, and that was 5 years. So if you started seeing people wearing this in the market, you knew that was the bottom of the bell curve, and if you were trendy, ditch it, send it off.
Right.
Well, now, if you see designer looks on the runway, they could be knocked off and ready to purchase within 4 hours.
Yeah.
So another thing is, because on all these wonderful websites, there are people who kind of become these little flash-in-the-pan style icons, and individuals can literally ignite styles. But, I'm not into fashion at all. I'm into who are you? And when I see people that have a bunch of old stuff around in their closet, then I have to clarify that with them by saying, who are you today?
Okay. That is really powerful, Janna, actually, because it's about owning up to yourself, accepting yourself, being honest with who you are, with what you like, and owning it, really, isn't it?
The first review we got was a young woman who's, frankly, in the top 3% of the most beautiful women in the world. Only 2% of Americans, I don't know about internationally, feel beautiful when they look in the mirror, only 2%. So this woman is exceptionally beautiful, and she wrote me this review after she read the book, and this was my whole purpose. I had my payoff, 3 years invested, great. This was it. I was paid. She said, I now understand that style isn't something outside of you that someone else perceives. This is really expressing who you are to the world, or not. It is individual indeed.
Yes. That's a great testimonial, isn't it?
And you want to talk about branding?
Yeah.
I love, Oscar Wilde says, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken.
Absolutely. Janna, this time in the Coach Lounge is going by so quickly. It's a fascinating, amazing interview. And there are a couple of things I want to just touch on here. One of them, in fact, no, there are 3 things, Janna. Is it okay to touch on 3?
You ask me, I'll answer.
Okay, so let's go for the first one. The first one is styling on a budget.
Oh, I love it. In my opinion, if you have good taste, you can shop anywhere. As a matter of fact, I'll go into a company if they want me to teach their employees how to dress, but the employees don't have as much income as the people who are hiring me, obviously. I've taken clothing from a box store. You all probably now have Walmart also. I've taken a silk suit from Walmart.
Right. Yeah.
There's a line of traditional clothes there called the George Collection. When my own son graduated from college, I bought his shirts there because he didn't have enough money after being a student to go to some fine men clothier. I think you should always have the best quality you can. This probably isn't as epidemic in Britain as it is in the States because of storage issues. But, oh my God, we have so much stuff. And if you want a wardrobe that works and you're on a budget, think about a 1-3-5 ratio. A jacket is expensive because of the tailoring. So with every jacket, you want at least 3 things you can do with it. A skirt that works with it, doesn't have to match a skirt, maybe a dress, maybe a pair of pants or 3 pair of pants. It doesn't matter, whatever your preference is. And then for every bottom, you want about 5 tops. Now this is going to vary, but frankly, this ratio, if you're working sitting at a desk and people are seeing you, probably this is a great ratio for your closet. And next step you're going to do, if someone says, oh, after hearing you today, I need a suit, but I can't afford a suit. And I would say to them, do you have any great looking black slacks? What are the pants you wish you could wear every day? The skirt that fits you like a dream, good quality, you wish you could wear every day. If you can find a jacket to match that, a jacket costs less than a suit, you're in business. If you don't need jackets and you want everything to work in your wardrobe, if you have a fabulous fitting bottom you wish you could wear every day, and you do not own a top to match it, this is your number one purchase, because there are only 3 things that you need to know to have a perfect working wardrobe. This is so exciting to me, and this is it. This is the mechanics. It isn't what you think. It isn't somebody else's list. The 3 things you need are inside bases, that's matching top and bottom, which, by the way, Rebecca, your dress you're wearing today is an inside base.
Right, yeah.
Today, for fun, when you go back to your home, if you would go to your closet where you keep your clothes and look at every single other jacket and every single other cardigan, you might be amazed at what you can put with it.
Yes. Okay, that's a task for me, which I'm going to look forward to doing.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, that's an inside base. An outside base is a typical suit. They're easy for us to remember and think of. And then the third thing is accessories in sets.
Okay.
Now, we talk about...
I'm going to stop you there because that's my third point, and I'm going to introduce it with a question. Is that okay?
Thank you.
The second question, yes. So you've given some more amazing tips. And I'm going to then introduce the accessories question with the guiding light for selecting ideal accessories. Because there are so many accessories out there. How do you know what's ideal for you?
Great. Okay. First of all, if you understand your personal style and you understand the language of clothes, accessories are the same as clothes. But accessories are what give personality to an outfit. This is where you infuse. For example, I took a basic teal dress recently at an open house for clients, and I gave 7 completely different looks that went from Western boots and a jean jacket to after 5 and cocktail. How? Same classic knit dress, just by changing those sets of accessories. But the reason I'm saying this to you during the segment on how to build a wardrobe on a budget is that some of these accessories that I got rave reviews on were 30 years old.
Okay.
So this is the key, that when you know yourself, you cannot look other than yourself, let's be honest, but when you hone in on what expresses who you are, these things don't change unless you change. And if you change and you no longer have a pierced nose, then you don't need that accessory anymore.
Okay. I mean, as you're saying this, I'm just getting the thought coming to mind, wear with confidence, really, isn't it?
Oh, because nothing gives us more confidence than our authentic self, and accessories are to your wardrobe what spice is to food. Accessories are to your wardrobe what spice is to your food. And, I don't mean to brag or anything, but I can still wear the same earrings I did in high school.
Okay, right.
My body's bigger, but I can still wear those earrings.
Wow, I'm loving this, Janna.
I have some belts that don't work, but the earrings work.
Well, I'm there with you, Janna, I must say, with the belts. Now, this question here, I'm just wondering, what answer is Janna going to give to this? What's Janna's response? Because I'm simply going to say, Janna, talk to me about clothing and style for romance.
For romance?
Yes.
Oh, good question. Okay. If you have a beautiful red tank on, and there's a picture of you on your images on Google where you have a red lipstick on.
Yes.
There's something very visceral about that picture that makes you just come through the screen and stand out.
Okay.
I haven't met you, but I know red is a powerful and dynamic color for you personally.
Can I tell you though, Janna, I have not worn red. I wore that red for for that picture, but it's not a color that I used to like wearing. And just suddenly, all of a sudden, I've started to wear it again. I've got a beautiful red dress that I get lots of comments about. So thank you so much for that. I do appreciate that.
Sure, it's your, I won't say stop sign. I'll say it's your spotlight. Even if someone's waiting tables, if you had someone who's trying to get their career started and they're working as a waitress, if you wear red lipstick, it increases your tips. If you have trouble on the roadside and you're wearing red, you'll get better assistance. It's fascinating. So if you were doing an online dating you may want to wear red or whatever. As far as romance, pink is the color of romance. Absolutely sheer fabrics, lace, but to get the attention, you get red, and then to meet them, or if you're someone who's very aggressive and you want to soften that, you can't do better than pink. If you're starting a business that does adult daycare for seniors in advanced stages, and your branding is pink, if that's your logo color, and pink, 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 there's not a more caring color in the universe. It isn't a strong color, but it's just as caring as you get. So anything that speaks there's a difference in the language of love and the language of romance. And sometimes I see women who are single who will do these very audacious, extreme, sexy looks, but they want someone, they're longing for romance in their life.
Yeah.
Fascinating, huh?
It is actually fascinating. Yes, another
Ask me
radio
more
show.
questions.
Sorry?
I'm not sure. Did I answer your specific question?
Yes, absolutely.
Ask me more.
Absolutely, yes. Well, there is another question, actually, and this is based on a forthcoming event. I'm working with some people who are unemployed. They've been unemployed for a while, so as you can imagine, confidence is a bit low. And we're doing some mock interviews next week in preparation for real interviews at a new store that's opening up in the city. So what you've mentioned your client and the spotted blouse, but generically speaking, what tips can you offer for someone who's not been in an interview for a while and they really want to dress to express themselves well in an interview setting?
Here we are, back in the language of clothes again. You know, how that person feels in the clothing is so important. And in America, we have an organization called Dress for Success. I'm not sure if it's international now or not. But they have a clothes closet for people who need interview clothing. And then after they get a job, they come back and build them another capsule wardrobe. This is where you take 12 pieces of clothing and make 60 different looks. They build them another clothing once they get started. And I love this organization, understandably.
It's a great initiative, isn't it? I must say I've not heard of that over here. Yeah.
It's amazing. So, you know, again, what is the job and what is the dynamic of this person? I got kicked out. I got in trouble one time at a school. I was there as a volunteer telling kids how to interview. And I said, there's only one thing you tell them in an interview. And then I said, you tell them what they want to hear. So I got sent to the office. I was in trouble. But what I meant was, obviously, you tell them, what aspect of yourself would this company want? So singular purpose. For anyone who's nervous, you have one singular purpose: match and mirror. If you want to be in this organization and you're nervous, I'm not above parking my car at the curb during startup time and looking at what the people coming in and out have on.
Yeah.
You know, there is that old adage, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. And with the language of clothing, even that can backfire if you're more capable than your supervisor. You don't want to outdress them.
Yes.
It can be kind of create problems. So all of this stuff. But if you know what's going on, you can always tweak it. So for this person's confidence, again, thank you for giving them the mock interviews. That is absolutely the number one most powerful thing you can do. Most powerful. And so we're back to our same list, you know, to do darker colors, solids. If they want to feel more confident, a third layer piece, a jacket, going down to a less structured jacket to a cardigan. If they've never worn a jacket before, we don't want them to feel uncomfortable. You know, all of the people who come to me come during transition. So I'm literally designing. If I were a costume designer in a play, that's what you want to do. You want to dress the part. It's that simple.
That's a good
So you
analogy.
match and mirror.
Yeah.
And another great tip for these people, you know, we talked about the capsule wardrobe, taking 12 pieces and making 40 different looks.
Yes.
If you have 3 pieces that don't look like they work, like let's say you had a black skirt and a red shirt and a light blue jacket, as long as these three colors don't clash, you can repeat the bottom color at the neck. I call this bottoms up.
I see.
So if you had an onyx necklace or a silver necklace with a onyx fob, if it was big enough, depending on whether you're close up or far back, when you repeat that bottom color at the neck, click, it just makes it work.
I see.
It'll turn any three pieces into an ensemble instantly.
Right. Fabulous tip. Fabulous, Janna. Okay.
And you can do the same thing for a top and bottom, can be turned into an ensemble by doing the bottoms up.
Okay.
It'll teach you really which accessory to wear.
Right. Superb. Now, Janna, what I want you to do now, please, is just tell our listeners about your amazing book and how they can get hold of it, please.
First, I want to thank them for listening today and say that I think you're providing such a great service to them. And no matter what your heart's desire is, go for it. Because I'm not a business planner, and any success I've had in my life, I've just felt my way to it. You're a human and you have feelings. Never let your feelings stop you. Let them escalate you right to your goal. It'll happen like magic. In hindsight, when you look back, you'll see this wonderful path you've been put on. So the book website is called qstylethebook.com. There is free color information there. There's a free blog. On that website, you can sign up for my business newsletter. It may not be as interesting as some of the other things, but I'm always here to serve you, and I hope this has been a foundation for springboarding you into a wealth of information that'll serve you well.
Well, I already know that I'm going to be listening to this interview a few times because you've, with my notebook and, and pen, because you've given so much today, Janna. I'm really, truly honoured to have you here in the Coaching Lounge. And if it is that, do you do consultations at all? If somebody
Yes.
wanted to call you or contact you and say, could you give me a 30-minute consultation or something, is that something that you do?
I think it would be better for someone to find someone closer to them than I am, unless it's someone in this area. But I want you to know it's been an honor to be here. And if you have any questions for me specifically ever, I'll do my best to answer them.
Okay, yeah. I only mentioned that because the show does go out worldwide, you see. So it could actually be someone in your neck of the woods,
I wrote this book
Yeah.
so that I can't say everything I've learned in 30 years, learned from my clients, not my credentials, my brilliant clients.
Mm-hmm.
I can't teach everything I've learned in 30 years within an image session, but this book can make them their own best image consultant.
Well said, absolutely. Miss Janna Beatty, it's been a wonderful honour to have you in the Coaching Lounge. Thank you so much for your energy and the passion that I felt today, here with you. And I truly appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me. The Coaching
Lounge. Take your place in the Coaching Lounge. Be inspired by discussions with motivational guests, compelling speakers, key people of influence, and models of success. Learn unique processes, strategies, and tips that will transform your life. Tune into previous episodes on www.thecoachinglounge.co.uk. Like our page on Facebook via The Coaching Lounge. Follow us on Twitter @SatelliteCoach. Thank you for joining your host, Rebecca Gordon, in the Coaching Lounge. Tune in, relax, engage, and transform your life now.